Stop trying to be better than everyone is probably a piece of advice you expect from a horrible life coach. Yet, in a world where we're constantly told to never give up, to grind until you physically cannot, and to outwork your competition, these 7 words might save you from wasting another decade chasing your goals in the most counterproductive way possible. You see, the moment you open social media, your brain is being conditioned into comparison. Within seconds, a kid making 40 grand a month from his mum's basement crosses your feed. A teenager with your dream physique, and a young couple traveling the world on money from who knows where. And so your brain arrives at the only logical conclusion, that you're inferior to them and you need to catch up. And so you try. You wake up at 5 AM and you hit the gym like they told you to. You read the books, follow the morning routines, and you dread each day, waiting for your life to finally match theirs. And before you know it, 3 months go by. You're objectively better than you were before. You're a bit better, a bit wiser, a bit stronger. You're one step forward in the right direction, and yet social media continues showing those who seem to have it all by the age of 30. And all of a sudden, that work you did felt like it was for naught. You see, comparison didn't just steal your joy. It stole your self-belief, your confidence, your drive. It made you question whether you had a shot at all. And if you're being honest with yourself, that voice is still there. It's probably why you clicked on this video. Because deep down, you know that the way you're thinking about self-improvement, about the way you're measuring yourself, comparing yourself, and about this constant wallowing at other people's successes is fundamentally flawed. And you would be right, it is flawed. In fact, it is broken. But it's not broken because you're incompetent. It's broken because of where it all came from. You see, comparison has always existed. It's literally hardwired into us. Because for most of our history, your competition was maybe the 50 people you actually encountered in real life. Your village, your classmates, your neighbors, and that was your universe in a nutshell. And yeah, there was still a ranking, but at least the top felt reachable. And that was until the internet happened. That was until your competition jumped from 50 to 8 billion people almost overnight. And somewhere along the way, people realized that this dwelling insecurity from all this comparison was actually an ingenious business idea. You see, many courses are built on that feeling that you're not enough. Every productivity book, every how I built this from nothing, and every optimal morning routine video, they all start from the same place. You feeling behind. You feeling not optimized enough. You feeling not enough, not disciplined enough, not productive enough, and not successful enough. You see, the guy selling the confidence course or the money-making course probably doesn't want you to reach that end goal. Because the confident guy doesn't need the next module. The rich guy doesn't need to steal the next secret business model using autonomous AI agents. And the productive guy is too busy doing his work instead of worrying about productivity systems. You see, the entirety of this business is to keep you insecure just enough so that you'll consume the next piece of content. Because insecurity is a billion-dollar industry. The internet didn't just amplify comparison, it weaponized and monetized it. But for most of us, social comparison didn't begin with the internet. It actually started way earlier, before our brains were fully developed. It started at school, because after every test, you were given a number, a grade, a ranking. You sit in a room with 30 other kids, and every piece of work you do gets evaluated and compared publicly. You get your test back, and the first thing in your mind probably isn't whether you understood the content. You're thinking about what everyone else got. Because that number only means something relative to someone else's number, and a 70 feels fine until you find out everyone else got an 85. But that's not even the worst part. Take a look at dating apps, because what apps like Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble did for both men and women is arguably destroying many more relationships than it's building. Because now, people are taught that a good partner must fit in this mold. He must be at least this tall, she must look this way, he must make at least 6 figures, this requirement and that requirement. And as the list gets longer, the number of genuine connections gets smaller. So now, instead of looking for people they genuinely connect with, they look for what society deems as the best partner. And look, I'm not saying standards are bad or wrong in any sort of way, but since when was love a checklist? You cannot logic your way into a genuine connection, and you can't optimize your way to something real. And funnily enough, the only way to win this game is to not play at all. But it's not as simple as it sounds, because the question isn't just to stop comparing, it's what you actually do instead. You see, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer are undoubtedly 2 of the greatest tennis players who have ever touched the racket, and yet their playing styles are nothing alike. Federer's playing style is built around elegance, and he makes it look effortless and full of finesse. On the other hand, you have Nadal, packed with power and topspin in each shot, making even returning a forehand from him no easy task for even the best players. And if you told Nadal to play like Federer, he'd lose. if you told Federer to play like Nadal, he'd also lose. Because their greatness wasn't copied, it was who they inherently were, manifested in a way that couldn't have belonged to anyone else. And nowhere is this more evident than in music and art. Every genre has its own rules, every scene has its conventions, and yet the ones who break through, the ones you truly remember, always have something they can't explain. That's why you always hear people saying there'll never be another Michael Jackson, or there'll never be another Freddie Mercury. It's something that is uniquely theirs. Think about classical music for a second. There's something almost paradoxical about it. The notes are fixed, the sheet music is hundreds of years old, and every pianist who sits down to play Chopin is playing the exact same notes as every other pianist who has ever played Chopin. The same tempo markings, the same dynamics on the page, and it's basically the same piece. And yet, when you listen to Martha Argerich play the same piece as Vladimir Horowitz, something completely different happens. One feels like a storm, another feels like a conversation. You have the exact same notes, and yet two completely different experiences. You see, the notes were never the differentiator. It was the interpretation. It was their identity. What made their playing style unique. What made them great wasn't how accurately they played it. It was the way only they could play it. An excellent example of exactly this is Midoriya from My Hero Academia. You see, in this universe, almost everyone in the world is born with some unique superpower. Everyone but the main character, Midoriya Izuku, born completely powerless in a world built around power. And his one dream, what he wants more than anything in the world, is to become the greatest hero that ever lived. But there's someone who already holds this title, All Might, the pinnacle of heroism, the strongest, most beloved, and unbeatable symbol of peace that an entire civilization's safety depended on for decades. And when All Might chooses Midoriya as the one to inherit his power, you'd think the story is over. But it isn't, because Midoriya tries to use that power exactly the way All Might did. The same punches, the same style, the same approach, and every single time he destroys himself. His body can't handle it. He breaks his own bones just trying to be someone he isn't. And that's where most people stay, trying to force a version of themselves that was built for somebody else. It isn't until Midoriya stops asking All Might how to use this power and starts realizing how he himself would use this power that he truly becomes the greatest hero. You see, the number of ways your DNA could combine is essentially infinite. The version of you that exists right now is statistically impossible, and yet you're spending every moment trying to be a worse version of someone else. There has never and never will exist another version of you, and yet school looks at all of it and puts us on the same path. If you follow it perfectly, outcompete the rest of them, you will only end up seeing what everyone else has already seen. But being different doesn't mean just ignoring hard work. It doesn't mean doing whatever you feel like because that's what you impulsively want to do. Rather, it is the opposite, because you must ask yourself what excellence looks like when it belongs to me. Not the version that society has sold you on, not the version that you think would attract other people, but the version of excellence that truly resonates with you. You see, Midoriya didn't just stop copying, he still trained with All Might, but now he experiments, he tries new moves, he analyzes his techniques when they aren't working, and he adapts his identity into excellence. So stop chasing the version of success that someone else designed. Midoriya didn't become the greatest hero by becoming All Might. He became it by becoming himself, and that's the only way it ever works. Ask yourself, what does excellence look like when it's mine? Then do the work, the real, unglamorous, experimental work of becoming that. Stop trying to be better than everyone, and start trying to be more you. The world has no room for another Roger Federer. It has no room for another Steve Jobs, but it has infinite room for the first version of you.